Give me the green light. Oh, yeah. Cause I'm ready to go. Let's have a good time. Let's go. What you waiting for? You only got one life. One life. And we gon' live it up. So give me the green light. Give it to me. Cause I'm ready to go. Oh, oh. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, oh. Cause I'm ready to go.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Angel back here with another video, and so yeah, this one has been a little while coming, and it's been a crazy year. You know, I don't know. It feels this year feels kind of dry. I don't know if it's the fact that I didn't go to WrestleMania this year, or it's probably, you know what's weird? I just realized this. This is the first year since having my account, the first year in which, my Instagram account, of course, in which not once throughout the entire year have I met a wrestler. I have not met one wrestler in 2017. That's crazy. Fuck. I mean, yeah, the last wrestler I met was Seth Rollins, Black Friday of last year. I was gonna try to meet either Sasha Banks or AJ Styles the Royal Rumble weekend, but I mean, I woke up early the day of the Rumble, but I didn't wake up early enough. Everybody else happened to wake up earlier, and so yeah, I just didn't go to that or either one of those. What else? Finn Balor was here the day of NXT Takeover War Games, and I tried going to that, but yeah, there were a whole lot of people, and they already handed out the wristbands when I got there. But it was worth a shot just to see. I figured a lot of people wouldn't go to that one because it was actually not in Houston. It was in Pasadena, which is outside Houston, and I figured a lot of people were probably not going to go to it, not only because I mean, it's not super far. If you've been there as many times as I have, then it doesn't feel far or as far. But I figured a lot of people wouldn't go there because of Pasadena's kind of the hood. If anyone's ever been there, you know Pasadena is pretty hoodish, at least a lot of it. But yeah, and then Braun Strowman was here on Black Friday this year at the Autorama, which is where I met Seth Rollins last year, and Daniel Bryan the year before, and Big Show the year before that. But I like Braun. I mean, of course, at the beginning of the year, I wasn't a big fan of him, but like he's grown on me, and not because he fought Roman Reigns earlier this year, but like he actually has improved a lot with his in-ring skills, you know, his character. He's improved a lot, and I'm still not the biggest fan. I don't know if I buy merch for him, but he has grown on me a little bit. But I had some other plans on Black Friday, and I just kind of went and did that stuff instead of meeting Braun Strowman because I mean, like yeah, like I said, I'm not the biggest Braun Strowman fan, so he's not like important to me to where the stuff that I was having to do on Black Friday, or I would postpone it and go meet him. Like if it was Finn Balor doing that, then yeah, I'd probably postpone it and go meet Finn. You know, who else? I don't want to get too much deep into thinking that, but yes, this is going to be a review for something. You give me a minute. I should have grabbed it before the start of the video, but whatever. I'm gonna grab it now. This is a review for WrestleMania 33 DVD. Of course, the WrestleManias that have happened since having my YouTube channel are 29, 30, 31, 32, and now 33. And so the only ones of those that I didn't go to, or the ones of those that I didn't go to, were 29, 30, and this one, 33. So if you were around my YouTube channel even way back when WrestleMania 29 was going on, you know that right after the show finished, I'd come back home and do a quick video, just giving my, not a full on review, just some thoughts on like the important parts of the show, and then like later on in the year when I get the DVD, I'd what's it called? I do like a full on review. And like I always say, even though it's on the network, you know, when it's the DVD, I have to get it when it's WrestleMania, man. Um, Speaking of which, so yeah, I went to, or I want to say this real quick because now I'm thinking about wrestling DVDs. So I went to NXT Takeover War Games, and I went to Survivor Series. I've been holding on to those tickets for a while, and I don't know if I mentioned it in my channel update video, but when I went to Survivor Series, because I had a sign for Kurt Angle that said "You suck," and then in small letters in parentheses underneath it said "Not really." Because, we don't chant "You suck" because we hate him. We just do it because it's kind of funny and it's a tradition, and they showed me on the live broadcast, and they had me on there on the network version for like 2 weeks, and then they edited me out. They edited me out of the fucking of Survivor Series on the network just because I was on there. I was like, you know what? I think I'll buy the DVD when it comes out, but I'm pretty sure they edited me out of that too. Like, why, motherfucker? The fans chant "You suck," and I didn't have that sign because what you don't want it to say, you don't want a "You suck" sign because he's playing a good guy. I know he's a good guy. I don't chant "You suck" because I hate him. I do it because it's a tradition and it's kind of funny, But and I even had "Not really" underneath to show that I don't really think he sucks. Because yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I was a huge fan of Kurt Angle, and like, of course, a lot of kids that are wrestling fans, they usually boo all the heels and cheer all the faces. Kurt Angle was the one heel that I always cheered, and of course, I still liked him when he turned face. But when he turned face, I was like, fucking, all right, now it's safe for me to cheer him more often because when he was a heel, I couldn't really cheer him when my family was around. At least that's what I felt like. I didn't know wrestling was scripted at the time, but yeah. And then I would like notice people were chanting "You suck" even when he was still the face. I'm like, why? But they cheer for him still whenever he'd win a match when he was a face. And then even when he was a heel, I got mad at them. I'm like, he doesn't suck. But then when I got older, I realized, okay, they're not doing it because they hate him. It's a tradition. But yeah, so I'm probably not gonna what's it called? Get the Survivor Series DVD now that they edited me out of that shit. At least I took screenshots of myself from there, so I got those to hold on to. But yeah, anyway, WrestleMania 33 DVD from Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida. But I noticed they kept calling it by its old name, the Citrus Bowl. But yeah, they really did a good job of renovating it. What's it called? Because I have the documentary DVD, The True Story of WrestleMania, and they talk about WrestleMania 24 when, like, before they went there, like, the Citrus Bowl was like almost deserted. Like, it looked like it was just like obsolete, no pun intended. But yeah, then they said they fixed it up a little bit to host WrestleMania, and they hosted WrestleMania, and then like the week or the month after, whatever, after they get it cleared in a week, actually, in less than a week, like packing all the shit back up. But once they wrapped everything up and took out all the stage and the field, or the seats and all that, and the ring, and the stadium returned back to normal, it looked just like it did before they fixed it up just for WrestleMania. Like, wow. And then I remember in 2012, 2011, somewhere in that time, I remember seeing photos of them pretty much destroying most of the stadium just so they could fix it up. Like, they tore it down to its skeleton, basically. I think the only seats that remained the same were the upper deck on both sides. But yeah, other than that, they changed everything else up, and it looks beautiful now. It looks really cool, and the only thing cooler than that, man, that stage. It's funny because WrestleMania 29, I was like, that's the best WrestleMania stage of all time. And then WrestleMania 30 happened, and I was like, no, that's the best WrestleMania stage of all time. And then 31's was cool. It wasn't as cool as 29 or 30. And I noticed 31 looked a lot like WrestleMania 28 stage. I remember 32 looking at the seating chart. I'm like, why is section 2, the 200 section behind the stage, open when it's covered in white? Usually the section's covered in white. That's where they have like tarps or whatever, because they know people won't have a view of the ring. But then when I saw them creating I saw the finished product of the WrestleMania stage, I'm like, oh, that's why they put seats out there. They're serious about selling out that stadium. It wasn't even really over 100,000, which is a letdown, but it was close. It was like 97,000 from what I heard. So they technically still broke the record. But yeah, that stage, man, that was a fucking awesome ass stage. A real life amusement park as a fucking stage, dude. And that long ass rampway, I heard it was like 80 yards or something like that. Holy shit. But yeah, definitely WrestleMania 33 officially has the greatest WrestleMania stage that I've ever seen. And followed by second place, WrestleMania 30, and third place, WrestleMania 29. But yeah, man, that was a really cool stage and all that. And so yeah, let's go ahead and get into the show. So we start out with the New Day segment because they're the hosts, and I zoned out for the most part. Like, I don't know if I'm the only one, but I really stopped caring about the New Day a long time ago. But I was alright with them being hosts. I'm like, alright, at least they're not in a match. But yeah, I zoned out for the most part. I think Big E referenced the sex tape between Xavier Woods and Paige, like in a way, kind of, and like he referenced it, and then he looked over at Xavier, like, like, you know what I mean. But also, I forgot what video game their costumes were modeled after. I think it was like Final Fantasy. But Kofi Kingston, looking at how he was dressed and with his the way his hair was done and all that, honestly, he looked like Andre 3000 from Outkast. As soon as I saw him, like, hey, he looks like that one guy from Outkast, Andre 3000. But yeah, for sure. So that's like the thing that I found the coolest about that segment, even though I don't really care about the New Day anymore. But yeah. And so then we get our first match of the night. It is Shane McMahon versus AJ Styles. I'm like, wow, this match is going on first? I was like, okay. But yeah, it's we start off the match. It's pretty well paced, Good little back and forth action. Of course, each wrestler steals the other wrestler's taunt. AJ takes Shane down and then does the Shane O'Mac shuffle, whatever, and then Shane forces AJ out of the ring at one point, and then he does phenomenal that thing. My first favorite spot of the match was the 450. AJ was going for a 450 splash from the apron to the inside of the ring while Shane was laid out, and then Shane countered it into the triangle submission. So that was pretty cool, but then it got even cooler. AJ was able to get up and, position properly to deliver the Styles Clash. So he delivers the Styles Clash, 1, 2, and we get a kick out. So, and then at one point, Shane is working AJ over in the corner, and AJ is like going for a kick. I forgot what kind of kick he was going for. And then Shane ducks, and AJ knocks down the ref. So we get our ref bump. I'm like, oh shit. Anything is fair play now. And let me tell you something. As soon as I saw the WrestleMania set design, I was like, the first thing I said, the second thing I said was, hey, looks like Universal Resort. The first thing I said was, holy crap, there are a lot of things that Shane McMahon can jump off of. that was really my first thought. So after we get our ref bump, Styles introduces a trash can into the match, and he's gonna go for Shane-O's move, the coast to coast. So he goes for the coast to coast, but midway through, Shane McMahon gets up and forces the trash can into Shane McMahon gets up, forces the trash can into AJ Styles to take him down. So that was a cool little counter right there. And then he sets up AJ in the corner with the trash can, and Shane McMahon successfully hits the coast to coast. And then shortly afterwards, we get a kick out from Styles once the ref gets back up. Somebody from Sanity did the coast to coast at NXT Takeover War Games. I forgot what his name is. I haven't super kept up with NXT ever since Takeover Orlando. But yeah, he did the coast to coast, and it's crazy because that dude's a big dude. And I'm like, man, you need some serious hops to do that. But he did it, man. He did it pretty good on him. And I was trying to start a chant. Well, actually, no, I didn't try to start a chant. I only said it once. I said, "You're not Shano." But it was cool, though. Coast to coast is one of my favorite moves in wrestling. And then we get the action going outside of the ring, and Shane places AJ on the table, the announce table outside the ring, and goes to the top rope, goes for an elbow drop, and AJ moves out of the way. And so after that, AJ takes Shane McMahon back to the inside of the ring, gets on the apron, goes for a phenomenal forearm, but he gets reversed into a DDT, another sick reversal, man. And then Shano drags AJ closer to one of the corners, and he goes up top for a shooting star press. And he goes for it. AJ moves out of the way. Man. But that was actually a good shooting star press. I can't deny that, man. His form looked good. He came down, like, he was able to, come down and hit the mat without, like, hurting himself or causing injury to himself, And I noticed a lot of people were acting like, or at least they thought that, like, that was the first time that he ever did the shooting star press, when it's not. It's not. The 2 times that I can remember, he tried it against Kurt Angle at King of the Ring 2001, and on Raw, like, before Halloween in 2001, it was, he faced his dad on Raw in a street fight. That's when Kurt Angle came out and turned his back on Team WWF and joined the Alliance. But so yeah, but all 3 of those times, versus Kurt, versus his dad, and now versus AJ, he missed, or well, his opponent moved out of the way rather. But yeah, it was a pretty good attempt at the shooting star press. But yeah, he always seems to miss that. And then Styles goes for the phenomenal forearm. 1, 2, 3. Your winner is AJ Styles. Yeah, it was a pretty good match. Good way to kick off the show. Yeah, I didn't expect it to go on this early, but it was cool that they did. It was actually pretty good. Good placement on the card, in my opinion. Really good match to get the crowd hyped. And then the following SmackDown, AJ pretty much turned face. He shook Shane McMahon's hand. He turned back, and he acted like he was going to attack him. But then he just kind of smiled, and Shane smiled back at him. So, and AJ's been a face ever since, which is kind of the right thing to do. I mean, I liked him as a heel, but with how over he was, man, you pretty much got to make him face. Like, even when he was a heel, I noticed that even as a heel, the kids were cheering for him. I'm like, man, that's pretty cool, man. AJ really is a fan favorite, and he's the face that runs the place. Or at least should be, I don't know. But definitely one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen. One of God's gifts to wrestling. And but honestly, I thought he was just acting like a face on that SmackDown. And because he had he came out with that new shirt around that time, the one that said the Untouchable one. Remember, it was red. Because of that, I thought he might be going Raw, and especially the night after WrestleMania when they announced a Superstar Shakeup within the next week. I'm like, oh shit, what if AJ goes to Raw? But nah, he stayed on SmackDown. And see, a lot of people slept on this match, man. A lot of people slept. I didn't because I know Shane McMahon could put on some pretty good matches. This was a good match. It wasn't a great match, but it was good. Um, because hey, Shane McMahon, he once went like 25 minutes against the Olympic gold medalist. The only great match that in my personal opinion, that I think he had was that match against Kurt Angle at King of the Ring 2001. But other than that, he's had good matches. Some matches were mediocre, but Shane, he could hold his own. He could hold his own in the ring. And but I think the right person won, without a doubt. But I still think he also should have won last year against Jericho, man. But I'm not gonna complain too much about that, because I mean, they've done a really good job booking him ever since. So in the end, it all works out. And I'm gonna give that match an 8 out of 10. So up next we get Kevin Owens versus Chris Jericho. They showed the promo during Kevin Owens' entrance, and I still wonder why they do that, man. That's kind of one of my pet peeves in wrestling, but whatever. Jericho's entrance happened, and they had the giant inflatable list of Jericho on the side of the stage when he came out. I thought that looked pretty cool. First big spot of the match was probably when KO went for the Swanton Bomb, and Jericho countered. But you know, when he went for the Swanton Bomb, and I noticed that Michael Cole even referred to it as a Swanton, and I'm like, and now that I look back on it, and I'm like, they foreshadowing? They're foreshadowing the Hardys returning. It was right there. We didn't see it, man. But what's it called? Another thing I want to point out is that, you know, these outdoor WrestleManias, it always seems to get dark so quick. I don't know if I'm the only one who noticed that. Like at the start of one match, it'll be pretty light still, and then like once it's over, it's just dark. Like, what's it called? Yeah, just any outdoor WrestleMania is pretty much like that. Except for WrestleMania 26, but I think that's because they kept opening and closing the roof, so you couldn't really tell for the most part. But unless you paid really close attention. But yeah, that's just one thing I always notice about these outdoor WrestleManias. Like it always seems to get dark hella quick. At one point, AJ props. I mean, not AJ. I'm still on the other match. Kevin props Jericho up, and you know, has him by the head, and he says, "You were never my best friend. It sounded like he said, "You're a piece of shit." I want to say he said that because it sounded much like it, but I don't know, because they never censored it. They never censored that part, so I don't know if he really did say "you're a piece of shit." But yeah, he said something along the lines of that. Then Jericho, KO's going for a pop-up powerbomb, and he gets reversed into the code breaker while Jericho's in the air. And he goes for the pin. 1, 2. KO puts a finger on the rope. Just one finger. I just thought that was really funny, the way he did that. But, oh, man. And then we get a spot outside the ring with a powerbomb onto the apron, and KO wins and becomes the United States champion. And so, you know, ever since then, KO's been on SmackDown. Of course, recently formed a tag team with his real life friend Sami Zayn. But yeah, and I just want to say, Chris Jericho's a genius, man. Like, Chris Jericho, in my opinion, is one of the most underappreciated wrestlers that I've ever seen. I mean, he gets some pretty good appreciation. I shouldn't really say underappreciation, but I feel like he deserves a whole lot more appreciation from fans, because I mean, this guy got a fucking clipboard over. He got a fucking list over, man. And you know, it's like anything he seems to do, he makes it work. You know, in 1998 or 99, I should say, to to 90. I mean to 2008. I'm not gonna include like his WCW run because I didn't live through that. But you know, his first run from WWF to WWE as Y2J. You know, with the Ayatollah of rock and roller, the highlight of the night. You know, he made that work. And then in 2008, I was unsure when I noticed he completely dropped the whole rock and roller personality and went all serious and calling everyone a hypocrite and a parasite. I was unsure about that, but then I realized he makes it work because he actually got me to really hate him, even though I already knew wrestling was staged at that time. He actually really got me to hate him. I'm like, damn, he's pretty good at this. Now after he finished that gimmick, I was like, damn, he's pretty good at this shit. And yeah, anything he's able to do, he's able to make it work, man. And that's why I think Chris Jericho deserves a whole lot more appreciation, even with as much as he does get. But there was a lot of talk that this match didn't live up to its expectations. I don't know, man. On that new WWE special, WWE 365, Kevin Owens, I haven't seen it yet, but I read a little bit about it, and he said that KO even said himself that he really wasn't all that happy with the match. At least that's what I read. But I don't know, man. I mean, I thought it was okay, but I mean, I didn't expect a 5-star showing, to be honest with you. But I expected a decent match, and yeah, it was decently good. I mean, but maybe it could have been better. I don't know. I was satisfied personally with it. I'm going to give it a 7.5 out of 10. Next up, we get Bayley versus Nia Jax versus Sasha Banks versus Charlotte, the Women's Championship. You know, we look back at WrestleMania 32, where, you know, the first night where the term diva was just completely dropped, and they changed it to women, and they introduced the newer WWE Women's Championship. Personally, I still think Sasha should have won just because of how over she was and how much hype she was getting. And ever since then, she hasn't had that same hype again. She hasn't had that same momentum again, man. You know, WWE, like at times they'll give you what you want, but they won't do it when the hype is hella real, you know. Whatever. Sasha and Charlotte, they dominated that women's division over the past year, and everybody was calling it the female John Cena versus Randy Orton. But yeah, whatever. So Sasha Banks' entrance, she came out on that I want the guy that was driving that shit. He honestly looked like the same guy at the Royal Rumble. It didn't show up on the network. But I'm pretty sure everybody saw photos and even YouTube videos of it. But like at the Royal Rumble, whenever like bigger guys are coming out, if you notice, they show them coming out and walking down the little rampway, the elevated rampway or whatever. And once they get to the bottom of it, they cut to the ring for like 10 seconds, and then all of a sudden the wrestler, the big guy, gets into the ring. That's because all the big guys like Braun Strowman, Big Show, Mark Henry, Bray Wyatt, every time they were coming to the ring, they got on like a little like cart, and that guy would drive them from the end of the little elevated ramp all the way to the ring. And I did at first, for some reason, I thought they showed it on the network or on the live broadcast, but nah, apparently they didn't. You know, Mark Henry was going to there, and he looked like he was laughing all sinister. He was holding on to the thing. He was just like, like, it was crazy. And I remember when number 17 came up, or when number 17 was about to come up, they parked the cart at the end of the stage, at the end of the elevated rampway, and I'm like, okay, I bet the Undertaker is coming out now. And I heard, oh, San Antonio! I'm like, Big E? Yeah, Big E came out and he rode the cart. I'm like, but does Big E really even need the cart? I mean, yeah, he's a big guy, but he runs pretty fast, man. Shit. Dude, that big runs pretty fast. But yeah, I don't really think he needed the cart, but whatever. But yeah, I think that was the same guy that was driving people to the ring at the Royal Rumble earlier this year at the Alamo Dome. And when Sasha got on the apron and she did this, the thing that she usually does during her entrance, They had the pyro going off in the back. It looked cool. It reminded me of 9 years ago, that same stadium when Floyd Mayweather made his entrance, and he did this, and he saw the pyro just going off in the back while like at the motion of him doing this. It looked just like Floyd Mayweather's pyro. Um, Charlotte had her entrance looking like Ric Flair, also 9 years before, when he had his retirement match against Shawn Michaels in that stadium. And yeah. So the match starts out with um, pretty much all of them were just ganging up on what's it called, on Nia, and Nia. Even at one point, they all three try to rush her, and then Nia just like clotheslined all three of them, and fucking um, they decided to do some teamwork on her, for the most part, and Nia was getting up on the top rope. She was gonna do a what's that move that Yokozuna used to do? I forgot what it's called, but it was that same move. She was about to do it to, I want to say, Charlotte, and then I can't remember, Sasha or Bailey came in to stop her, and then they all pretty much, while she was like groggy on the top rope, they went up to her, Shades of the Shield. They did the triple power bomb to Nia Jax, which I thought that was kind of cool to see a female Shield move. And they all pinned her. They all got on top of her to pin her. Nia Jax was the first eliminated. And eventually, Charlotte gets out of the ring for a little bit and lets Bailey and Nia have it out for a little bit, and then she drags one of them out of the ring. I can't remember who. And then I want to say it was Bailey, and then Sasha's going for a suicide dive through the ropes, but Charlotte moves out of the way and she hits Bailey, and Charlotte goes up top, and it's a corkscrew moonsault from the top rope to the outside of the ring on both of them. That's amazing how she's able to do that, man. I don't see why people give her a lot of shit, man. It's funny because I remember a lot of people were like, "Oh, I can't wait for Nikki Bella's title reign to end back in 2015," and they were all happy and shit when Charlotte won, but then they quickly turned on her. I don't get why. Maybe she did such a good job of playing the heel. But Charlotte's a really good wrestler. I don't give a fuck what anyone says. At one point, Charlotte took off one of the turnbuckle pads, the middle turnbuckle, and when Sasha went for a roll-up, Charlotte like pushed out of it, and Sasha's face hit the exposed turnbuckle, and then Sasha got eliminated by Charlotte. Honestly, I think Sasha and Bailey should have been in the final too. But it's whatever, I guess. Charlotte was working Bailey on the top rope, and Bailey forced her off at one point. And what was I gonna say? And then Bailey goes for an elbow drop, Shades of the Macho Man, and gets the pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Bailey wins. I think this could have been booked a whole lot better. Even the build up to the match. I mean, I'm glad. I like the ending, because the elbow drop. Because I only like the belly to belly, or Bailey to belly, whatever you want to call it, suplex, when she does it from the top rope. But there was speculation that Sasha would turn heel during this match, which that didn't happen. But it's whatever. That's not what bothers me the most about it. What bothers me the most is, now I'm happy Bailey won, but the thing is that it all could have been booked better. There were rumors going around at the start of the year, when there was that backstage confrontation between that Bailey and Sasha Banks had with Stephanie McMahon. There was rumors going around that Bailey was going to be booked to win the title at WrestleMania, like going up against the Authority in a way. Like, I guess Charlotte would join the Authority, and maybe Sasha would turn heel whether she would join the Authority or not, she would be a heel, I guess, and it would be a triple threat between those three. And Bayley would win in like a Daniel Bryan-esque fashion, uh, which I thought would have been good, but because you see, this is another thing about WWE probably giving you what you want, but just not at the time. Like sometimes they'll give it to you too late, and sometimes they'll give it to you too early. It kind of blew my mind that Bayley won that title the day before Valentine's Day, but because like that early, I'm like, really? You know, I thought they would have booked her as like, you know, the Daniel Bryan type of underdog going into WrestleMania and then have her win there. I would have liked that a whole lot better, but she got her moment nonetheless, so I'm happy for her. But I just feel like it would have been a lot more special if it was like that, with her going in as the challenger. But I'm gonna have to give this match a 7 out of 10. Wasn't too bad, but yeah, it could have been better, man. And then you had the segment with the Hall of Fame inductees, and let me say that it was great to see Kurt Angle back on a WWE broadcast, man, at the Hall of Fame, and to see him back at WrestleMania and the whole crowd chanting, "You suck, you suck." It was amazing, man. I'm happy for Kurt. You know, he got his life back together. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw his WWE 24 special, I wanted to start crying. He's a great man. You know, I met him. He was really cool, and I'm happy for him. Drink my Coke real quick. Haven't had a Coke since Thanksgiving when I made some Crown and Coke, so figured if I let me have a good old Coke. But next we get the ladder match for the tag titles. It's going to be Enzo Amore and Big Cass versus Sheamus and Cesaro versus Gallows and Anderson. So they all get in the ring. The match is about to start, and New Day's music hits. So New Day comes out. They're in their wrestling attire. I'm like, I know what they're about to do. They're in their wrestling attire for a reason, and they're the hosts. I know what they're gonna do. So, you know, they said that this match has now become a fatal 4-way, which means there is one more team added. Now, I wonder who this team could be. Who? New Day, that's who. Nah, but yeah, I thought it was going to be the New Day. I'm like, you motherfuckers, just get to the ring and get this over with. Fuck. You guys are in your wrestling attires. You're going to put yourself in the match. I see where this is going. And then a certain entrance music hit. And the stadium almost became unglued. Even the restaurant I was watching in damn near came unglued. Matt and Jeff Hardy returned to the WWE for the first time as a tag team since fucking 2009. And Matt's first appearance since 2010. Holy shit, dude. That was fucking crazy, man. You know, we heard rumors about it. We heard rumors that they were going to show up on the Raw the night after. I mean, you know, they had dropped their titles at an event. What's it called? That same weekend in Orlando. I heard something about that on What Culture Wrestling. So I don't know how true it was, but I mean, for the most part, their shit's pretty accurate. But I don't know. This seems kind of hard to believe. Is that when WrestleMania 33 went on the air, the Hardy Boys were still at their hotel. That's what I heard, but I don't know. But man, my arm was getting sore really quick from doing this shit so much. You know, delete. Oh my god, dude. It was fucking surreal. Like, you know, there was so much action to keep up with, and when the match was going, even when I rewatched it, I was still feeling in the moment of like the Hardy's return, like holy shit, this still feels unreal. And one of my favorite spots was when Cesaro was doing the Cesaro swing to I forgot who it was, and then Sheamus at the same time as the Cesaro swing was going on was doing the knife edge chops. I want to say they were doing it to each of the members of the club, but I can't remember because I was just so hyped at this shit. And then Cesaro went for a Swiss 1-9 at one point. I thought that was pretty clever how they worded that, the Swiss 1-9. And I noticed some Brother Nero chants at one point, man. It's fucking crazy. And then the fucking best part of the match. Cesaro and Sheamus are laid out on two ladders on the outside that are like propped up from the ring apron and the barricade. And there's another ladder set up straight up. Jeff Hardy goes to the top and goes for a swanton bomb. Oh man, only one of them broke. I think it was the ladder with Cesaro on it. But yeah, and then Matt's in the ring, and he gets the fucking tag team titles. It takes him a while, to be honest with you. Like Michael Cole already said, the Hardys are the tag team champions, and it took like another 5 or 6 seconds to get him unhooked. But it was pretty funny. But yeah, then they ended up winning. This was the first tag team title change at Mania ever since, get this, WrestleMania X7 in 2001. A match that the Hardys were also involved in. TLC too. But, and this is also Jeff Hardy's very first win at WrestleMania. That's another crazy thing. Matt has 2 wins at WrestleMania. WrestleMania 19, before this one he had 2 wins. WrestleMania 19, Rey Mysterio, and then WrestleMania 25 against his brother. But so Matt Hardy's at 3 WrestleMania wins, while Jeff is now at 1. He got his first Mania win, man. And the Hardy Boys, they went on to have a pretty decent year. I mean, even though on SummerSlam they put them on the pre-show, but I mean, I guess there wasn't really anything else for them to do. The tag team division has been pretty cool on Raw for the past few years. Even on SmackDown, it's been alright, but I like Raw's tag team division better throughout this past year. The Revival coming up, but I heard Scott Dawson got injured, and that's why the Revival hasn't been on Raw for quite a while. But yeah, and now Jeff Hardy's injured too, and Global Force Wrestling, or whatever they're called now. I know they're not TNA anymore. Whatever they're called now, Global Force, Impact, whatever. They dropped the lawsuit, and now the broken Matt Hardy gimmick is in WWE. The broken brilliance is here, and he's feuding with Bray Wyatt. And personally, I don't care if Matt goes over, because WWE has done a good job of making me not care about Bray anymore. I'm going to get some more of that once that match comes up. But yeah, this was a fucking awesome moment, man. And definitely my favorite match of the night. I'm giving this a 9 out of 10. This was the high point of the night. And it just feels like ever since here, it kind of went downhill, man. Oh, done. So next we get The Miz and Maurice versus Nikki Bella and John Cena. So I noticed Jerry Lawler came out to commentate the match, special guest commentator. I wonder why exactly, but it was alright though. Good to see King there. So this is Maurice's first match in 6 years, from what I understand. 6 or 7 years, something like that. When John Cena made his entrance, man, it's funny because he's running down that long ass rampway, and then they showed the view from, like, I think it was from the helicopter view, or somewhere at the top of the stadium. And when they showed that view, it looked like he was walking. Like, damn, that's a long ass rampway, dude. Like, shit, I'd be tired by the time I got there. I need to take a breather. Babe, you start out the match. I need about 5 minutes to catch my breath. Shit, man. I remember the last time WrestleMania was there, when John Cena came out with that marching band entrance. Even then, when he started running to the ring, and he was halfway down the ramp already, and he started running to the ring, and my cousin even pointed out, he's like, damn, that's a long ass ramp. It's a long ass entrance, man. That's also funny because remember that WrestleMania Charles Robinson was running to the ring to count the pinfall for Taker and Edge. Imagine if he ran down that. He probably wouldn't make it in the ring. The farthest he'd make it to is like at the end of the rampway, and then he'd just collapse. That's a long rant, man. So, but honestly, this match was flat. It was just very hard to pay attention, you know. I was on my phone a few times, and because I pretty much knew the point of this match, you know. Maurice and Nikki hardly wrestled. You know, it was mostly Cena and Miz in there. There was a spot where Nikki slapped Miz and even went for a suicide dive outside the ring and hit the Miz. But for the most part, it was just really forgettable, the in-ring action. And Cena and Nikki each hit their finishers together, and then they won. And so it's what happened after the match that people remember the most, even though it's pretty cheesy, but whatever. So Cena tells a story about when Nikki was getting her surgery and all that, and eventually ends up proposing to her. It would have been hilarious if he turned heel in that moment, if he got on his... Oh, I wish I had my class ring box right here. I forgot it's in my car. But if he got on one knee and when like Stephanie Nicole Garcia Colas opened the box, there's no ring in there, and he throws it to the side and just, you can't see me, and he just walks out on her. That would have been fucking hilarious. But I knew that wasn't gonna happen. But yeah, he proposed to her and all that, and yeah. So, and you know, it's funny because people are hitting me up about this shit and asking me my opinions and all that, and I know one fucking person, Melissa. I don't know if she's watching. She got on my fucking nerves. I know this was probably her favorite match of the night. This is what she is talking about the most after that WrestleMania, even more than the exit of the Undertaker. But I mean, you know, people ask me, do you think their love is real? Do you think it's actually real? I don't know. Okay, I don't watch Total Divas. If it is, good for them. If not, again, I don't watch Total Divas. Only Total Divas episodes I watch are the ones around WrestleMania weekend, especially the ones that I'm at. You know, yeah, because I mean, yeah, it's kind of cool to see what goes on backstage, but other than that, I'm not a regular watcher of Total Divas, and I know, and I'll be seeing dudes that talk about watching Total Divas regularly. Honestly, and if they don't do it, then alright, I guess I'm wrong. But honestly, when I think about dudes who watch Total Divas like almost every weekend, maybe they only miss 1 or 2 episodes each season. When I think about those dudes like that, I honestly see them laying on the bed like this watching it. I honestly see them laying like that on the bed. Oh man, it's ridiculous. But, you know, good for them. I'm happy for them. Yeah, I think Nikki's beautiful. And it's funny because people are always talking about, you know, what's it called? They're all like, man, if John really loved Nikki, then he should marry her. And then I remember the Wrestling Classic posted a clip from Total Divas where John Cena said that he told Nikki that he didn't say he was going to marry her, but he said that he was open to the idea of it. He was open to it. And I remember seeing that, and those same people that said, if John loves Nikki, he should marry her. Those same people saw that clip and commented on it saying, man, Cena's a soft. Like, they spelled it like how Enzo spells it. They didn't even call him soft. They called him a soft. Like, as if soft is a thing, you know. Hey, bro, you dropped your soft. What? But, yeah, the match was pretty fucking flat. The one thing everybody remembers is what happened after, so... Of course, the rating is for the match, and I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10. Bret Hart. It's funny, we mentioned 4 out of 10 and Bret Hart, and Triple H is in the next match. Next up, we get Triple H and Seth Rollins. So Triple H, did his typical big WrestleMania entrance. That's one thing you can't deny is he knows how to make an entrance at Mania. And he came out on some big old chopper, and I'm looking at that bike, and I'm like, Taker probably could have used that. But Steph comes to the ring looking like a snack. I don't know which MILF I love more, Steph or fucking Mickey James. Shit, I don't know, man. Yes, Steph, even at 40 years old, Stephanie McMahon could still get it. I don't give a fuck. But and I noticed when Triple H got on the apron and did his water spit, like, because it was so windy. Like, if you look at like all the females that were making their way to the ring during that WrestleMania, you could see the wind blowing in their face, and their hair was all to the side and shit because of the wind blowing. So when Triple H did the water spew, you just saw the water just fly right in Stephanie's face, and she just she didn't want to make it seem like it really affected her. And I thought it was kind of funny when JoJo was introducing Triple H, she even called him the 14-time world champion. I'm like, wow, they did that for they don't do that for anyone else. This match has nothing to do with championships. Rollins had his entrance, and this is kind of the birth of the whole "burn it down" thing. I mean, that wasn't in his entrance music, but the graphics and coming out with the torch and all that, which I thought would look pretty cool, man. I thought all that shit looked cool, and his attire, man, was pretty fire. All gold, bro. That could be a rap song. His attire was fire. This was the night that the Undertaker retired. I don't know. But oh man, so what was I gonna say? But I honestly, I kind of wonder why does Seth Rollins have "burn it down" as this thing now when he's called the architect? Architects don't burn things down; they build things up. If anything, they should now call him the arsonist or something. But the match starts off. They quickly take the action outside of the ring, and I think when they went outside of the ring, I think I saw Shane's, because Shane's kids are sitting front row like they usually do at the events that he wrestles at. They're sitting front row. I think I saw them booing Seth Rollins. They say, "Fuck you, motherfucker. We're going to cheer for our uncle." Oh, shit. But then we get our weapons introduced. Triple H brings out a chair and hits Rollins in the knee. And, man, I was scared for Rollins throughout the match, man. And then there was that spot where I can't remember what the move is called that he tried to do to Kane when he tore his ACL. But he went for that same thing again. In the back of my mind, I was just thinking about the match that he had against Kane in India. And so he goes when he flips over and he lands and he starts selling it again. I honestly thought he tore it again, dude. I'm like, holy fuck. This motherfucker tore his ACL again. So, then at one point, Triple H is out of the ring. Seth Rollins goes to the top rope and hits a crossbody. And when he comes down, he hits Triple H. He ends up landing on Triple H, but he also comes down on the knee and he sells the knee again. And then at one point, Triple H brings a chair to the ring while Rollins is laid out and puts it around his knee and stomps on the chair to try to weaken the knee more. And I keep having to tell myself, like, Angel, calm down. Rollins is just selling it. He's not really gonna tear his ACL. Like, I was just getting really scared for him for the most part. But yeah, then they're outside the ring and Triple H locks in the figure four on Seth, and so Seth is like by the ring apron, so he's constantly getting stuff out of the ring to throw to him. Like he throws a fucking chair at Triple H, And then Seth literally tossed the sledgehammer to Triple H. He didn't even like throw it at him. Like I understand why, because that shit would really hurt. Hence why when Triple H hits someone with the sledgehammer, he puts his hand on the fucking hammer part before he fucking hits them. So, but yeah, he literally tossed the sledgehammer to Triple H, and so I was like, man, if Triple H hits him in the knee with that shit, it's over. But when they get back in the ring, there's like a series of reversals, like a whole lot of fucking reversals. And at one point, he hit the Phoenix Splash. I can't remember when, but that wasn't the end of the match. The end of the match comes when what's it called? Triple H kind of pushes Rollins kind of pushes Triple H towards Stephanie, and like while Stephanie's on the apron, and fucking he almost knocks her down, and then he turns around, Seth Rollins kicks him, and Steph goes through the table. Because yeah, they set up a table outside the ring, and honestly, I forgot all about that table. I need to remember when someone sets up a table, even if it's outside the ring, it'll be used at some point. And yeah, that's what it was used for. Stephanie McMahon went through a table, and I remember the night after Vince was cutting his promo, and he's all talking about there was something at WrestleMania that shook us all to our core, that left us all in an emotional state, and I want to present that moment to you. And I was like, oh, he's going to talk about Take. And then they showed Steph. I'm like, this motherfucker. I thought he was going to talk about something else. But, so Rollins hits the pedigree to pick up the win on Triple H. So, and that ending surprised me. Not that Rollins won, but like for some reason I did feel like Triple H may have won. But I thought if Rollins won, I was like, is he gonna win with the pedigree with Triple H's own move? But he did. And here's another match, kind of like the Jericho and Owens match, where people were like, it didn't exceed expectations, and I don't know. Yeah, for me, I had more expectations for this one, so I would say it lived a little bit below those expectations. And I noticed a lot of people were fucking complaining about it so much that they straight up said that Triple H needs to retire. He will retire soon. I don't know when, but this was his 21st Mania match. I don't think he's going to have as many as Undertaker, which is 25. So I think he'll have at most 3 more WrestleMania matches. Excuse me, at most. But I noticed Triple H never got his revenge. I remember telling people, I'm like, hey, he's going to get his revenge. He seems to always get his revenge at some point. WrestleMania 30, ever since he turned heel again. WrestleMania 30, he lost to Daniel Bryan. And eventually Bryan got, I mean, yeah, that wasn't planned to happen. It was a real injury, but it still played into the storyline. Daniel Bryan got hurt, and he ended up stripping him of his championship. So he got his revenge. He beat Sting at WrestleMania 31, so there wasn't really anything to get revenge for there. I'm talking about coming off of WrestleMania losses is what I mean. So WrestleMania 32, Roman Reigns beat him. And then that Raw that was in Houston later that year, the one that I went to, he came out and cost Roman the Fatal 4-Way match. That's where he turned on Seth Rollins. But yeah, he lost Seth Rollins here, and I noticed that, I mean, Triple H has come back for Survivor Series, but I noticed that he never got his get back on Rollins. I thought he would in some way. But I'm going to give this 7.5 out of 10. And then we have a musical performance. Pitbull, Flo Rida, and I forgot the other guy's name. They came out, they performed Options and then Green Light. I don't know how to feel about music performances at Mania. I mean, really, I prefer music performances at Mania more when it's when they're playing a wrestler's music, like Motorhead when you would play Triple H to the ring. But I don't know, like really, I can't complain too much when the Super Bowl does the halftime show. You know, I mean, I like this. I like this song, this Green Light song. I like it better than My House, but that's not really saying a whole lot. But there were some good looking girls, um, some good looking dancers during that performance. Had a lot of booty hanging out. So yeah, I can't complain too much, but that's just a segment. I'm not gonna give it a rating. Our next match is Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. And, Orton winning the Royal Rumble, it shocked me. It shocked me because, way back when Orton joined Wyatt the October before, I was like, I even said, even to my friend Ashley, I told her, I was like, because we went to SmackDown in Houston right after TLC that year, and she saw that Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton were tag team partners, and he's like, "Wait, so he joined the Wyatts?" I'm like, "Yep." And so then I told him, but what I think is going to happen is I think eventually Orton's going to turn his back on Bray, and they're going to have a match at WrestleMania. And sure enough, it happened, but I did not expect it to be. I knew ever since they joined back in October, I was like, it's going to lead to a match at WrestleMania, but I did not expect it to be for the championship. Because I remember when the Royal Rumble was coming up, there was talk about the Vegas odds or whatever for Orton winning the Royal Rumble were like the highest. I'm like, really? And the Royal Rumble happened, and Randy Orton won. That shocked me. I never expected that in 2017 Randy Orton would win the Royal Rumble, his second Royal Rumble win. He ties John Cena and Shawn Michaels and Triple H for 2 Royal Rumble wins each, and Hulk Hogan. I think that's all, because Stone Cold has the most with 3. But and yeah, of course, people were cheering after he eliminated Roman Reigns. And here's the thing: they were not cheering um, Orton winning the Royal Rumble. They were cheering Roman not winning. So, Randy Orton commits arson at one point, burning down the Sister Abigail house or whatever. Pro wrestling, man, serious business. He committed arson. I mean, Rikishi committed attempted murder at one point. Carlito's old bodyguard, Jesus, he committed attempted murder on John Cena. So, if you're in wrestling, you can get away with crimes now. So I noticed Bray Wyatt. I didn't notice it during the live broadcast, but when I watched it again, I was like, "Oh shit!" Bray Wyatt started his entrance in the middle of the ramp, which made sense because it's a long ass fucking walkway, dude. Um, and this was the first outdoor entrance where you actually got to see all the fireflies. WrestleMania 31 technically didn't count because it was still daytime, but he made it work, with the scarecrows and all that. So I still liked his 31 entrance, even though it wasn't dark. But then Orton comes out, and when he was at the top stage, he did this, and then the sparks were falling from the top of the stage. It looked just like it did when he was the Legend Killer. So I thought that was pretty nostalgic. I was like, yeah, it's been a minute since he's done that. And he's walking to the ring, and there's like a little snake that he's like riding to the ring on like the graphics, the LED graphics on the rampway. And my friend, he's like, "Why is Randy Orton riding a sperm to the ring?" It did look like a sperm. It had a big ass head and a little body. Yeah, WWE didn't really think that one through. But I think this was the most underwhelming match for me. Even more underwhelming than Triple H and Seth Rollins. And the pace was pretty mediocre in my opinion. At one point, Orton's laid out and fucking Bray Wyatt does his corner taunt where he grabs the ropes and he just does this shit, and then the lights go out and they put a projection on the ring of maggots. Maggots. I said good evening, you maggots. Not those magnets. Magnets. maggots, um, maggots that like eat your body after you die, assuming you get buried. And it was funny because when they first put it on there, the ref he fucking pieced out. Like the ref was out of there, and then Orton eventually exited the ring, and then the graphic stopped, and you got a "that was freaky" chant, which I thought was pretty funny. But and then he does it again at another point in the match, but it's a projection of worms, and the ref pieces out again, of course. And the crowd just seemed dead during this match, man. Like, I was thinking, I was like, you know what? I think the momentum, I think the pace is gonna really pick up. I think this is one of those type of matches where it starts off mediocre and then it just really picks up. And I thought so when Randy Orton hit that RKO outside the ring, and then eventually he sets up for a punt. There's no point in that. Everybody knows it's banned, and like, there's no point in that. Like, you don't see Seth Rollins setting up for a curb stomp only for it to be reversed now because we know it's banned. So why attempt the punt when you know he's gonna reverse it or something, you know? And Orton sets up for another RKO, but Bray Wyatt catches him for a Sister Abigail, and it eventually leads to a kick out. And then Bray Wyatt does his exorcism thing again, and this was the most disgusting moment of the night. Another projection. This time, they projected the spawn of Satan. Easily, without a doubt. This is not an opinion, this is a fact. The most disgusting creatures to ever walk or even in some cases fly on this earth. Roaches. A projection of roaches on the ring. I hate roaches, man. How roaches outlive dinosaurs is a mystery to me. And I wouldn't be surprised if they outlive humans. They showed disgusting ass roaches, and I could feel my skin crawling, and the ref got out of the ring. Shit, if I was Randy Orton, I would have got out the ring, I would have ran out the stadium, I would have said, fuck this title match. Nah, wouldn't. But I do hate roaches, though. Roaches are disgusting, man. Like, every time I see that, I just feel my skin crawl. Oh, man. And then Bray's picking Orton up off the mat, and Orton hits an RKO out of nowhere and goes for the pinfall and wins. I understand this just as much as I understand Seattle throwing the ball from the 2-yard line at the 2015 Super Bowl. In other words, I just do not understand this decision to have Orton go over on Bray. I really thought that this was the first WrestleMania win for Bray, but this is where it started to go downhill for me when it comes to Bray Wyatt. I mean, all this hype for him. You know, I remember when he first debuted on the main roster as Bray Wyatt, and people in the crowd were really chanting Husky Harris. I mean, obviously that's who he used to be, but still. But eventually he got over, and you know he eventually did the whole Fireflies thing. When he comes out, everybody lights up their cell phones. All that hype for him, and finally making him the WWE champion, only for him to drop it to Randy Orton, man. I just didn't understand that. And like I said, this is where just things went downhill for me in terms of Bray Wyatt. Like, 'cause then he gets sent over to Raw. They had that House of Horrors match at Payback, which was pretty much a fucking it looked just like the fucking Final Deletion. I swear, man. It looked like a carbon copy of the Final Deletion. And when the match was first announced, the SmackDown after WrestleMania, um, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it originally supposed to be for the WWE Championship? And then what's it called? Bray got sent over to Raw in the Superstar Shakeup, and so they were still gonna have the match. Orton was gonna show up on a Raw pay-per-view just to wrestle Bray Wyatt. Um, but then Jinder Mahal became the what's it called, number one contender. So the match, I still thought going into the match, I still thought it was for the WWE Championship. So I'm like, okay, Randy Orton's gonna win, and it was in the middle of the match, like when Bray Wyatt came back to the arena in the limo. I looked up on Wikipedia and I saw it wasn't for the title. I'm like, really? This whole time I thought it was for the title. I was like, okay, Orton's gonna retain and he's gonna defend it against Jinder. But yeah, then Bray's just gone downhill ever since. There was that weird short-lived feud with Seth Rollins, that wasn't memorable at all, and he lost to him at Great Balls of Fire, the weirdest fucking pay-per-view name ever. He was supposed to face Demon Finn Balor as Sister Abigail, which is an alter ego where I don't know if he was gonna dress up as a woman or something. But that luckily didn't happen. Which, I mean, it's not lucky that he got sick or whatever. It's not that. I'm just saying that it's good that it didn't happen. But I feel bad for him getting sick. I'm not gonna shit on him as a human being, but and then yeah, he just came back recently, and again, I don't care if Broken Matt Hardy goes over on Bray. I will be all right with it because WWE has done a good job of making me not care about him anymore. It sucks, man. This is where things just really went downhill for him. And I'm gonna have to give that match a 6 out of 10. I thought it was better than the mixed tag match, but this was the most underwhelming match for me, man. And then Orton goes over to drop it to fucking Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal, who was on the pre-show for this card and got knocked on his ass by Rob Gronkowski. 1 month he gets knocked on his ass by Rob Gronkowski, and the next, not even on the WrestleMania main card, on the pre-show, and the next he wins the fucking WWE Championship. I hope he never wins it again. I don't like fucking Jinder Mahal. But yeah. Then next up, we get the Universal Championship. It's Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg. As soon as I saw that this match was next, I was like, I know what this means for the main event slot. I know what this means. Oh, man. So Goldberg made his entrance, and I heard that because I noticed when he got in the ring, he took off his beanie and he threw it outside the ring. I heard that he threw it at Goldberg's son. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard of a few people who attended who were like sitting really close to the ring that they said that they saw him throw it at Goldberg's son. But yeah, Goldberg gets to the ring and match starts. Fucking starts off with 3 suplexes by Brock Lesnar, and then he gets followed up by 2 spears, and then Brock is outside the ring, and he gets speared through the barricade. And then there's a good series of reversals for a while, and then Goldberg hits a 4th spear, this one in the ring, and then goes for the jackhammer. 1, 2, kick out. Fucking. So he kicks out, and the crowd is fucking alive, man. Like, they were the complete opposite of what they were in the last World Championship match. The crowd was fucking alive. And damn. So then Goldberg's going for another spear, and So he runs towards Brock, and that is the highest I've ever seen Brock jump. That was fucking crazy how high he jumped to avoid that spear, and he hits the corner, and then eventually Brock hits 10 German suplexes, and of course everyone's doing the Ty Dillinger 10, 10, 10. So everybody's just hyped, and he goes for an F5. 1, 2, 3. Brock Lesnar is the new Universal Champion. 4 minutes and 45 seconds. And it was better than their match at WrestleMania 20. That was really good for 4:45. I mean, that was probably the best um, match I've ever seen that was 5 minutes or under, to be honest with you. I mean, for 4:45, they did a lot to really get the crowd fucking on their feet. And everybody was shitting on it, saying that it was going to be a bad match, and it was good. It wasn't long, but it was good. Holy shit. But yeah, it's weird because the U.S. title match was actually longer than both fucking world title matches combined when you think about it. The U.S. title match was like 15, 16 minutes. Both world title matches combined was like 14 minutes, 13 or 14 minutes. um, and Goldberg, ever since coming back in 2016, and then to his match at WrestleMania, if you combine his total um, match lengths in terms of time, as for the Royal Rumble, you time the moment he got into the ring to the moment he got eliminated. You combine all those times together, and it's under 10 minutes. That's fucking crazy, man. But I noticed when Lesnar was walking away, he fist pumped a fan in the front row. That was weird. Heels don't fist pump, but Brock did. He kind of broke character there. He fist pumped a fan. He looked like a grown man, so like if it was a little Make-A-Wish kid whose favorite wrestler was Brock Lesnar, then I understand. But he didn't look like a Make-A-Wish kid. But I don't know. Maybe he's a good friend of him or something. That was weird. But I could be wrong. I don't know. But I mean, he did fist bump it, but I don't know who that guy is. But yeah, that really stuck out to me. And you know, the night after, Goldberg cut his promo in the ring, his farewell, and he said, you know, never say never, hinting that he could be back one day. But honestly, if he ever comes back, I think it's gonna be for the Hall of Fame. I don't think he's gonna wrestle ever again. But I'm gonna give that an 8 out of 10. Like I said, probably my favorite under 5-minute match that I've ever seen. So next we get the SmackDown Live Women's Championship, and Alexa Bliss's Pyro looked pretty cool, man. It actually looked like sparkles, you know, just like in her animations when she comes out. And, you know, kind of reminiscence of her last gimmick, you know, glitter, glitz, sparkle, bliss, whatever. You know, I remember Cam, the unstable nerd on Instagram, I remember he said that, and I thought this would be a cool idea unless you're one of the people working for the arena, but like when she was still doing that gimmick, the little Tinkerbell type gimmick, what if she got an NXT championship match, NXT Women's Championship match at a takeover, and when she was making her entrance to the ring, if like they had like sparkly looking glitter fall all around, kind of like when Shane McMahon came out at Mania and had the money falling around, you know, something like that. I'm like, it sounds cool, but those people who work for the arena, they got to clean shit up once all the fans leave. Then that's gonna be a bitch for them. But yeah, her pyro looked cool and all that. Her attire, I wasn't really the biggest fan of that combination of colors, but it looked alright. Carmella came out with James Ellsworth. I could have done without Ellsworth, man. I'm glad he's gone. The Ellsworth thing has run its course, you know. When it first was going on, it was kind of funny. I'm not gonna lie, and I was all right with him having a WWE Championship match on SmackDown against AJ. I didn't want him to win. At no point did I want him to win that championship, but I was like, I was cool with it because I'm like, you know what, they're having a little fun. You know, I'm cool with that. They can have some fun as long as AJ retains. But after that, it just it just got old, and yeah, I'm glad he's gone, man. But Naomi came out. I'm a fan of her entrance, man, and I'm a fan of her as well. And man, that ass pretty much jiggles every time she moves a muscle. Yeah, but no doubt, I think Naomi's beautiful, and I've even said back in 2015 that I was a fan of her. But I was just like but she just needs to kind of do something to get, um, to really get more over. And she's done that with this whole, glow gimmick and all that. And so yeah, you really can't say I'm bandwagoning because yeah, if you look at my Instagram post in 2015, you remember me saying that I'm a fan of her. But yeah, WrestleMania in her hometown. But the thing is that this match just seemed all over the place. Like everything was just a mess, and you got to remember this match was originally on the pre-show, and the Intercontinental Championship match was instead going to be on the main card. But at the last minute, they switched them out. But when you look back at it, some people say that they probably were better off on the pre-show. Um, because there are rumors that they switched it to the main card because Naomi's entrance wouldn't look that good in daylight, or wouldn't look good at all in daylight for that matter. Um, but yeah, I think it was just like a fucking double-edged sword or whatever it's called. That term is called because fucking Dean Ambrose ended up going to the pre-show to face Baron Corbin with his title on the line, but that's fucked up for Dean because the previous summer he was the WWE champion. He won Money in the Bank, cashed in the same night, and became the WWE champion. And then all of a sudden he's on the pre-show for the company's biggest event. Even though I think Dean doesn't have the same momentum that he had in 2015, it still felt I still felt bad for him. But yeah, they said the pre-show was probably a better spot after all. But Ellsworth even took a bump. His bitch ass got suplexed by Becky Lynch. Natty locked in a double sharpshooter at one point. I want to say it was on Carmella and Alexa Bliss. I can't fucking remember because everything was all over the place, and she almost slipped at one point, and Mickey broke it up, and eventually Naomi locked Bliss in that submission and made her tap out, and Naomi won. The whole match was a mess, but I'm happy that Naomi won. Um, she had to have her moment, winning the championship in her hometown. So yeah, that was definitely really cool. But as for the match itself, yeah, 5.5 out of 10. Pretty much the same way I felt about the Divas Championship match at WrestleMania 30. I was happy AJ won, but the whole match was a mess, man. And on the DVD, I can't remember what the original, because like after that match finished and before the New Day came out to announce the attendance record, there was like a little like commercial they aired. I can't remember what the original commercial is, but on the DVD they put in the WrestleMania 34 promo. And I remember watching that WrestleMania. I was like, when are they going to show the promo and for next year's WrestleMania? But they ended up showing it on the DVD, and then the New Day came out to announce the attendance record. Pyro's going off everywhere. And then we get to this match, the main event. Here we go. This is the one. I have a lot to say about this. So it's Roman Reigns versus The Undertaker. No titles. So when this particular match with no titles on the line, I know why they're putting it as the final spot on the card. I know this. I know what this means, man. So they're showing the promo for the match, and they're showing at one point they're showing like clips of the Undertaker throughout his career. Where it starts off with Ted DiBiase saying, "I give to you the Undertaker" from his debut. I was like, there's a reason why they're showing all these clips of the Taker, man. Holy shit. And so yeah, after the promo finished, we heard about this that JR was going to come out to commentate a match. It was either this one or the Goldberg versus Brock match that everybody was saying he was going to come out to commentate. And JR came out, and I was happy. I'm like, fuck yeah, JR's back. But at the same time, I know what this means. It only makes sense that the greatest commentator of all time is going to commentate a certain Undertaker match. I know this. But, that was really cool of JR to, want to come do this match, call this match, and even after what happened to him, like a few weeks before losing his wife, I mean, you could tell he was heartbroken, but he was able to get through it. Even Michael Cole said, hey, I know it's been a rough past couple of weeks for you, but hey, man, just have fun here. Do what you do best. You're the greatest of all time. Let's call the main event of WrestleMania. But yeah, I love JR, but I know what it meant, man. Roman came out, showered with booze again. Not gonna sugarcoat it. But he had a badass pyro. I'm not gonna lie. The pyro looked really cool. That was probably his best Mania pyro yet. And then when he comes to the ring, JoJo announces that it's now a no holds barred match. So I'm like, whoa, what does this mean now? But now that I look back on it, they probably just did that so people could think the match was better than it actually was. But Roman gets to the ring, and then the Undertaker comes out, and I'm like, all right, when's he gonna come out? So my friend was saying, because we noticed he wasn't coming out at first, and so my friend was saying, what's it called, that he thinks he's gonna attack Roman from behind. I'm like, yeah, if he attacks Roman from behind, then that kind of lessens the chances that Undertaker's gonna, because why would he want to make that type of entrance for his last match, attack someone from behind? But I noticed he rose up in the middle of the walkway, and I realized, like, it makes sense for him to rise up from there, because as slow as he walks to the ring, if he starts all the way at the top of the ramp, by the time he gets to the ring, it'll already be WrestleMania 34. Yeah, but I saw Undertaker come out, man, and it was like around the time, because it's cool how they have his own little custom graphic with the purple smoke. It was around the time that they showed that, the moment that they showed that. I think in my video that I recorded when he was making his entrance, you even hear me in the background say, "Damn, man, like, reality hit me." And I said on the video, I said, "Damn, this might be the last time, man. This might be the last fucking time." But I definitely thought he was going to start from the top of the ramp, even when I saw the finished WrestleMania stage, because I'm like, man, it only makes sense that his longest walk to the ring ever also happens to be his last. But nah, he came out in the middle. But yeah, man, this match came underway. Taker forced Roman out of the ring and told him, "My yard." Eventually forced him out of the ring again. "Still my yard." Man, Taker just didn't look the same in this match, man. He wasn't moving the same. And I know what you're thinking. What should you expect? He's over 50 years old. But yeah, but it's like WrestleMania 30. He was not moving the same or nothing. And he eventually lost that match. But 31, he seemed a lot better. He seemed to be moving better. He seemed to be in better shape. 32, not as much as 31, but still better than 30. And then 33, man, he just wasn't moving the same. He didn't look the same in the ring. He didn't look like the Undertaker that I knew for all these years. And then they take the action outside, and Undertaker delivers a choke slam onto the table, and the table doesn't break. And then he gets on the other table, and he does the throat slash, signaling the end is near. But instead, he gets speared by Roman and goes through, I think, the Spanish announce table, of course. But yeah, he gets speared, and Roman is back in the ring, recovering. And then Undertaker sits up. So Undertaker gets back in the ring. Eventually, Roman's giving Undertaker, he gave him like 2 Superman punches, because they had a chair in the ring. And then I think he was going for a third one, and Undertaker caught him and choke slammed him on the chair. And then eventually he hit a fucking tombstone, and Roman kicked out. And people were pretty pissed. I'm like, come on, what'd you expect? Even I expected Roman to kick out. But it's funny because before this match happened, because I was thinking, is Roman really gonna win at WrestleMania 34? I mean, at WrestleMania 33, because I heard that like the spring break before this Mania, that the plans for the next year's WrestleMania 34, that it was gonna be Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, and I'm like, ah, so then that means Roman's gonna win, huh? So um, then there was a spot where Roman was supposed to reverse the tombstone, but he had trouble like lifting him up, so they botched the spot, and then they pretty much just stopped. They pretty much just killed the spot right in the middle of it. But yeah, I think that was on both of them, to be honest with you. Roman, because I mean he really should have had that, but at the same time Taker, man, he's just old now. He can't go, man. And he hits a spear. Eventually, he hits another spear. He kicks out. He hits another spear, a kick out. And I remember after that second to last spear when Taker kicked out, my friend even said, "Dude, he's not gonna lose." And I thought about this, and I'm like, man, maybe he's right. This is super Roman. He's doing all this shit to the Taker, and he's still not able to put him away. Maybe Taker's gonna win this. And then the most symbolic part of the match. Taker tries to sit up, and halfway up, you can see the pain in his face, and he just falls over. That let me know right there that Taker's gonna lose. And yeah, Taker gets on his knees while Roman's standing up, and he mouths some words to him. I think he said to him, "You don't have the balls." I think that's what he told Roman. And Roman, he ran to one side of the ring, bounced off the ropes, and I think he was supposed to spear him right there, but then Taker didn't turn in time, so he just punched him, and then he punched him again, I think, and then he bounced off the ropes like 2 or 3 times and hit the final spear of the match. And as soon as he hit it, even before the pinfall even happened, my friend said, "Okay, it's over." And yeah, in my head, I'm like, "Yeah, that's got to be it, man. It's got to be over right there. Anything after that is just overkill if Taker kicks out." 1, 2, 3. Your winner is Roman Reigns. And Roman's leaving the ring, and he goes up the ramp. Halfway up the ramp, stops, puts his fists in the air, and all the pyro is going off. And I thought that was kind of weird that they had all this pyro going off. I'm like, because they're acting like he just won the damn title. He just won a one-on-one match. Like, but yeah, man. And then Roman eventually leaves up the ramp. I'm going to give the match a 6 out of 10. But it's what happens after the match that makes everyone forget how bad it was. Because I was like, I knew there was a reason why this match was going on last. I was like, because even if it's a bad match, there's a reason it's being put on last. Not because of them putting on a good match, but because of what's going to happen after. So they're showing the replay, and while they're showing the replay, Taker is actually putting on his gear. And when they come back from the replay, Undertaker is in the ring. The lights, dark blue, his music playing, and he's in his full entrance gear. And he's looking around, everyone's just giving him a standing ovation, clapping for him. And I saw a look on his face that I've never seen. Not even, not in or out of character. It honestly looked like he was about to cry. And then he's about to exit the ring, and then he comes back in real quick. This is where I knew it was over, man. He took off the gloves. Undertaker's a big MMA fan, and the tradition in MMA is when you have your last fight, before you retire, you take off your gloves and you put them in the middle of the octagon. He took off the gloves and put them in the middle of the ring. And then he took off the jacket. I was like, no! And then he took off the hat and put it on top of both of them. And I'm like, no, this is it. This is his last match. He's retiring. And he exits the ring, and I remember hearing a fan in the front row yell at him, "You're the GOAT, Undertaker!" And right before he goes back up the ramp, this even sealed it even more. He broke character. Undertaker has always been the type of guy to stay in character as much as possible. He broke character on a live broadcast. He went to go kiss his wife, Michelle McCool. And then he walked back up the ramp. And he stops. He looks back. And then one last time, man, looks back one last time. Raises the fist one more time. And honestly, I forgot about the trap door that he came up from. I forgot all about it. I thought he still had to walk all the way up the ramp, but then he eventually descends into the darkness. And then the lights go out. The bell tolls 3 times. And just like that, it was over. The Undertaker will no longer walk amongst us. It's one of those things that you know it's going to happen at some point. You don't know when, but you know it's going to happen. But it's just that you know you're not going to be fully prepared for it. That's what this was, man. You know, the whole build up to the match, you know. And you know, people debate. Did people are talking about how Roman Reigns, he didn't retire the Undertaker. Undertaker retired himself. Roman Reigns didn't retire the Undertaker because it wasn't a career-threatening match. You know, we could say that Undertaker retired Shawn Michaels because that match was streak versus career. Shawn Michaels retired Ric Flair because it was a career-threatening match. But I mean, technically, we kind of can say that Roman retired the Undertaker. You remember the build-up? Roman kept saying. He kept using the word retire. He told Shawn Michaels, no offense, but the Undertaker retired you. And I'm the guy that's going to retire him. And on that Raw, when he interrupted the Braun Strowman and Roman Reigns match, and he chokeslammed Braun Strowman, you saw right before he got speared, he looked up and he looked like he mouthed the word fuck. Like he chokeslammed and then he went, and then he turned around and got speared. At the time, I didn't know if he was selling that, if he was just selling how big Braun Strowman is to kind of put him over a little bit, or if that really legit took a toll on him with his bad hip and everything, man. You know, you got to think about what this means. I mean, this is a big moment. This is, I'm pretty sure, the last time we're ever going to see Undertaker wrestling. I mean, you know, there was always a talk about him that he needed to get a hip replacement, but he was holding it off till after he retires. And There were photos by TMZ of him leaving a hospital in New York a few months after WrestleMania. I'm pretty sure that's what he went there for, was to get his hip replacement surgery. But yeah, man, it's crazy because you know, honestly, I think Taker is the greatest storyteller in wrestling history. I honestly think he is. I mean, beyond a shadow of a doubt, this guy knows how to tell a story in that ring, and one of the reasons I've always liked him. Like this is one of those things that it was just so hard for me to grasp because he's one of the guys that him and Triple H are like the only two guys that I remember seeing there on TV when I first started watching wrestling, and have been there ever since without like leaving. Like, of course they became part timers, but I mean like leaving like The Rock. He was on there, and then his contract expired in like '04, '05, whatever, and he was gone for like 6 years before he came back in 2011. So I mean like without like leaving contract at any point. Um, so I grew up watching Taker, and that very first WrestleMania I ever went to, 25, and he had that match against Shawn Michaels. In my opinion, that is, and even in the opinion of WWE, who did a 33 best WrestleMania matches right before WrestleMania 33, they ranked that the number one greatest match in WrestleMania history. And yeah, I think it was the greatest match in WrestleMania history. So definitely the greatest match I've seen in person. Um, it's crazy because yeah, it's just one of those things you can't really prepare for. And we always, you start the hashtag thank you Taker, and but it feels like we can't thank him enough, because like he really put his body on the line for this business, and I mean, honestly, feel like we've taken it for granted at times. I mean, because if he wanted to, he could have retired a long time ago. He could have retired sometime in the mid to late 2000s. He could have retired right after WrestleMania 28 when he went 20-0 and beat Triple H. He could have retired when the streak ended at WrestleMania 30, But I remember there were backstage. I don't know how true it was, but there were backstage reports that after his match at WrestleMania 32, after he came back from behind the curtain, he was telling people that this was his last WrestleMania, even though he won. And the stipulation was that if he lost, that he would be banned from competing at WrestleMania ever again. But he apparently told people that he was done competing at WrestleMania. But I don't know how true that was because, you know, I'm pretty sure if he didn't want to compete at WrestleMania 33, he wouldn't have because, you know, Vince and Undertaker, they're real tight, and Vince wouldn't want to do anything, wouldn't want to make Taker do anything he didn't want to do. So I'm pretty sure Taker wanted Roman to go over, and you know, as much as the fans hate Roman, at least they did the right thing by chanting "Thank you, Taker" and Undertaker when he was leaving. Because the worst thing they could have done was chant "This is bullshit" over the fact that Roman won. That was the worst thing they could have done. At least they saved their Roman hate for the night after that opening promo. Man, he got shitted on, and all it took was 5 words. I mean, but they kind of suckered themselves into it. So, but the chants were pretty funny. But the thing is that Taker's been there for a long time, and when it's a guy like Taker who's been there for so long, there've been 33 WrestleManias. He's been at 25 of them. And that's I can't think about the percentage right now, but that's more than half of the WrestleManias, obviously, So it's gonna feel awkward seeing no Undertaker at WrestleMania now. WrestleMania 31, I made my return to WrestleMania. I finally made my return to the show of shows. I went to California, and I remember getting off the plane and thinking, you know, Undertaker's entrance is just not going to feel the same because for his past 22 WrestleMania matches, you know, or well, not all of them because the streak didn't really become a thing until like his 9th or 10th win. But um, you know, for a lot of the matches before that, you know, people when they're watching WrestleMania and they're watching Undertaker come to the ring, it's such a sight. But there's also that feeling in you that holy shit, the streak could end tonight. And you know, there's a society that's like, I'm actually gonna be here for history to be made. I'm gonna watch the Undertaker streak come to an end. But there's also a feeling of like, dear God, please don't let the Undertaker lose. So you know, I thought about that. I'm like, man, his entrance probably ain't gonna feel as hype. But when he was making his entrance at WrestleMania, I did feel like it felt like something was on the line. But I realized it wasn't the streak. I'm like, what if his career's on the line tonight? What if he loses to Bray Wyatt and retires? And I remember saying, once I realized he was coming back to do WrestleMania 31, I remember saying, you know what? Whether it's this one or another one, I think that the next time he loses at WrestleMania, assuming he does lose a second WrestleMania match, it's going to be his last. And sure enough, man. Like I said, I always thought he would retire after the streak ended, but when he lost to Brock Lesnar, yeah, I thought he retired and all that, but I should have known he didn't retire because before he left, he didn't do this. Instead, he just looked back real quick, and then he just kept walking. He didn't raise his fist in the air. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he retired here. You know, I remember I came home. I honestly cried. I'm not gonna lie, I cried, and I looked at his Wikipedia at around 1 a.m. after WrestleMania, and I saw it still said Mark William Calloway, better known as The Undertaker, is a professional wrestler signed to WWE. And then the next day, like 10 minutes before Raw, I checked his Wikipedia again. It said Mark William Calloway, better known as The Undertaker, is a retired American professional wrestler that's known for his time in WWE. And like underneath his picture where it has like his stats about like where he's from, his height and all that. It showed his debut year and it showed retired April 2nd, 2017. Now it doesn't say it anymore, so there's speculation over if The Undertaker's going to come back and all that. But honestly, I don't want him to come back, to be honest with you. Just because he doesn't seem the same if you were like, oh, what if he does come back and you get your dream match of Undertaker versus Cena at Mania? Now I don't want to see it anymore because seeing how he performed there, it just probably won't be as good. And I hope he enjoys retirement, man. He really deserves it. He worked his ass off for 30 plus years, if you count like before he was the Undertaker. Is it 30 plus? It's somewhere around 30, like 27 in WWE, but around 30 in terms of like his whole wrestling career in general. But yeah, man, Undertaker is anybody who's ever been in the wrestling business respects the Undertaker, and you know, once I saw that it was apparently gonna be Brock and Roman at the next WrestleMania, I was like, oh yeah, it only makes sense for Roman to win, and it's the only two guys to defeat the Undertaker going 1-on-1. It wouldn't make sense for it to be um, the only guy to beat the Undertaker, the guy that ended the streak, to go up against a guy that came so close, and then the guy that came so close ends up beating the guy that beat the guy that he didn't beat, if that makes any sense, you know. So I knew Roman was gonna win, but you know, you just can't prepare for that, man. And I honestly don't think he's scheduled to appear at Raw's 25th anniversary, but honestly, I think he's just gonna announce himself in the Hall of Fame, and I hope so, man, because Taker's worked his ass off, and I I I really wish I went. You know, I really wish I went to WrestleMania 33, but there's nothing I could do about it. But without a doubt, Taker is the greatest storyteller in wrestling history, and I'll never forget all the amazing moments. Whether he was the Dead Man or the American Badass, whether it was regular singles matches, casket matches, buried alive, hell in a cell, whatever. Taker's the man. He is truly a once in a lifetime performer. You know, in the future of wrestling, there will be stars that will be pretty big, but I can guarantee you there will never be a star as big or with the same impact on the WWE as The Undertaker. The best, man. I mean, there's always talk about who's the best wrestler of all time. Is The Undertaker the best wrestler of all time? Without a doubt, he's one of the best. The absolute best? I don't know. But he's definitely the best storyteller in wrestling history, I'll tell you that. But, yeah, man, the day had to come. And the day for this was 33, WrestleMania 33. But I feel very fortunate to have experienced a lot of his career. You know, I know a lot of kids. I see a lot of little kids at these events who are like 10, 12 years old, um, and you know they only really see the Undertaker. They've only really seen the Undertaker during his part-timing run. And I feel sorry for them that they've never seen that they never got to experience Taker when he was, you know, just at his absolute best throughout the majority of his career. But I'm fortunate that I got to see at least 17 years of his career. All we could ever really say to him is thank you, man. There will never be another like him. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this, and I guess that dream match of Undertaker versus John Cena at WrestleMania will remain just that, a dream. But if that means that, you know, he has a happy retirement, then that's good. Because I've seen Michelle McCool's Instagram and the photos she's posted of him ever since WrestleMania. And honestly, he seems like he's really enjoying retirement. And that makes me happy, you know. But I'm going to stop this here. This is probably the longest WrestleMania review I've ever done, to be honest with you. We're almost at 2 hours. But, yeah, without a doubt, this was a very interesting show. You know, the match itself, the main event, was bad, but it was what happened after that made you forget all about it. It made you appreciate one of the all-time greats. So that's all. I'll try to bring you guys another video soon. Peace out. And as always, do you. And of course, thank you, Taker.